Hey there everybody, Grant here again. In this particular money video, it's going to be more about the practical applications, the mechanics of money, just a little bit here. In a previous video, I had you track everything that you spent. And if you haven't done that, I highly recommend it. Get a spiral notebook, something you have to physically write in and track every nickel you spend. If you spend 50 cents on a Coca-Cola or something like that, make sure you jot it down. If you pay your rent, your mortgage, your phone bill, you decide to buy yourself a new this, that, or the other, doesn't matter. Document everything for at least 30 days. That is the first step in taking control of your money. Now, of course, we all want to have more money because more money just means more opportunity, more freedom, more stuff, more experiences. We can give more away. That's all fine and dandy. But first, we would have to hit a level of financial security, and that is what number would I have to achieve in order to never have to work again? And now there are people who tell me, Grant, I don't know because I don't know how long I'm going to live. I don't know this, that, and the other. But there is actually a way to determine this, and it starts with tracking your money for at least 30 days. So if you've done that, great. If you haven't, take the time to do it. So the first rung, which is financial security, and we'll progress further on. We'll get some more specific numbers for more elaborate aspects of life. But I want to figure out how much money would you need right now to have the base things covered that at least if you hadn't lost your job, didn't have any way to make additional income or anything like that, how would you be able to at least maintain where your current living status is? And that is, you need to figure out how much your housing costs are. That's either your rent or your mortgage, things like that. You need your transportation costs, your cost of food, your utilities, and your insurance. Basically, how much money would I need to give you if I could write you a check right now that you'd never have to worry about those things again? Now, regardless of where you are, if you never had to pay for those things again, those were just covered and you were safe, your life would be totally different. You'd have a lot more money to do the things that you want. Now, the idea is getting to that point where we have passive income coming in consistently to cover those base things so that if we do want to keep working a job or whatever, that money can go towards the fun stuff. So when I ask people this, how much money would you need for me to give to you that you'd never have to worry about those again? Now, usually one of two things happen. Either they say, Grant, I have no idea because I don't know how long I'm going to live. I don't know if I'm going to live 10 more years or 100 more years, so I can't possibly come up with that number. Or they'll tell me, Grant, I figure it'll probably be $5 million or $10 million, something like that. Millions and millions of dollars. Well, the truth is that when you understand money, you can actually approach this very differently. Now, this is going to go for creating passive income. I'm specifically going to be talking about return on investments and things like that, but these numbers definitely apply to passive income as well. So let's look at that. Let's say, hypothetically, you've tracked all your numbers. You said my rent or my mortgage is this much, my car payments are this much, I spent this much on food, so on, so on, and so forth. Let's say you come up with a number about $3,000 a month. You say, Grant, I would have to have $3,000 coming in every single month so I didn't have to worry about my core needs anymore in terms of cost of living. So $3,000 a month, that means you need to make $36,000 a year. So we want to figure out how can I bring that money in without having to work? How can I bring in that $3,000 a month without needing a job? And that, again, the passive income streams and things like that. What I want to talk about is an oldie but a goodie. If you were to invest that money, and you can see you get the average return of the S&P 500, which is an index fund, over the last 60 years has averaged 9.8%. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes a little less, but let's go ahead and stick with that number of 9.8%, which means every year, if you had $10,000 on that, $10,000, and we're going to go ahead and multiply that by 0.098, which means you're making $980 a year. That's just free money. You never touch that $10,000. So take whatever your number is for your monthly expenses for those core needs, multiply it by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. So let's again say it's $3,000. Let's multiply that 3,000 times 12. That's where we get our 36,000. Now, whatever that number is, I want you to divide that number by 0.098. In this case, $367,346.94. So if you had $367,346.94 in the S&P 500, that means every year the interest you would make on that money would be $36,000. You'd make $36,000 for doing nothing. You'd never actually touch that $367,346.98. Never even touch it. You would just get enough money every single year to cover your basic expenses. So people will tell me for $3,000 a month, they think it's about $5 to $10 million. It's not even close to that. They don't even have to have nearly that much money. They don't even have to have 10% of that much money, and they never have to work again. And that money would constantly be coming in forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So as we look at that, the first reason I have you do this is to figure out, okay, how much money do I need to make from passive income to get to financial security? Because if you create some passive income streams, whether you do something like invest in the S&P 500 or do options trading, which is one of the things that I do, or you decide you want to create some passive income streams with a side hustle of some kind, a mistake I see people make is they get money come in and they just turn around and they blow it. They spend it on stupid stuff. And don't get me wrong, I like nice things, and I got no problem with spending money on frivolous things, if you will, fancy things, nice things. However, I only do that. Personally, I've reached to a point where I have certain income streams that are meant specifically for the fun stuff. But that's because I have income streams that cover my base bills. And that's where, truthfully, you want to start. In any event, you need to figure this out and say, okay, if my number is $3,000 a month, you can look at that and say, okay, are there ways I can cut that number down a little bit? And there might be through, changing your insurance company, through, maybe you're eating out at restaurants a lot and you eat at home. You can definitely cut and trim and things like that. That's all fine and dandy, but I want you to be able to maintain your current standard. So in this case, you need to either do something like come up with $360 some odd thousand and put it in an S&P 500 and get a consistent return on it. Great. All that stuff is covered. Or you need to be able to start by saying, okay, I want to start creating some passive income to cover those base bills. And I want to start a side hustle, and that side hustle is meant to cover my housing costs, or it's meant to cover my insurance for my car, or it's meant to cover my utilities bills, something like that, and have that money have a specific job. So slowly, as you build more and more income streams, you can start to hack away at that. And then you can take your additional funds and you can have a little bit more fun with it. Now, we are going to expand this a little bit above and beyond in some future videos and figure out, okay, what numbers would we need to look like for financial freedom and having a financial dream life, because there's different levels. This is just base financial security. This is that you wouldn't have to work and your base needs would be covered. That, of course, that's not going to cover if you want to go out and buy nice toys or take vacations or things like that. We're going to look at that too. But you can't get to that point until you get to financial security. And too often people take their side hustle money and they spend it just on the fun stuff. And then if for whatever reason the money flow isn't where they want it to be or whatever, or they upgrade their housing before they're ready to buy it, pay for it kind of deal, then they just find themselves in this constant struggle, this constant grind, because they've got more money coming in than they've ever had because they've chosen to create these side hustles. But they're spending it on pointless things. They're not covering their base needs, so they're never getting any traction. Don't be that person. Make sure you're making some progress, and it starts with increasing your knowledge with money. So that's what I want you to do. If you haven't tracked your money for at least 30 days, get a spiral notebook every single day. You need to check your bank accounts, because you might have money coming out of your bank that you don't even realize. And most of us don't think about the $13 that comes out for Netflix, or the $8 you're spending on Disney Plus, or whatever the case may be. So do that. Write it down every single day. Check your bank account every day. If you use cash for anything, write that down. Document it all. Then go through and figure out, what are my absolute necessities? In which case, how much money am I spending on? Calculate your housing, your insurance, your food, your utilities, and any other like base things. Now, vacations and that's not a base thing. That's not an absolute necessity. So figure that out, get that number together, multiply that by 12, because that's 12 months in a year, and then divide that number by 0.098, and that's going to give you, if you were to put it in like an S&P 500. Now, there are things that are going to give you a higher return on your money, things like that. That's all great. You can even say, okay, I want, like me personally, I have money in the stock market. I also do options trading. I have money coming in from online courses I've created. I have got money coming in from products and whatnot. I've got, of course, what I love to do, which is my business coaching and consulting. I've got real estate stuff. I've got a stake in multiple businesses. So I have a lot of income streams, and that money all has a specific place. And it starts with knowing where that money needs to go, because once you can have that covered, the additional money you have coming above and beyond that, and we're going to touch on this later, is going to have an opportunity to compound and grow into something truly phenomenal. So that's a little bit more of the specific mechanics with this particular video. I'm going to be sharing a couple other videos as we progress through some of the other ideas, concepts, plugging in some specific numbers. If you are interested, make sure you click the subscribe button. Also, there's some additional products. Check out some of the other videos because I've actually endorsed a couple of products that I've looked at, that some of them, I've made some, like I'm making passive income with. Some other ones that definitely have an opportunity. Some of them enhance an existing business model sort of thing. But if you're looking to find ways to create a side hustle, make sure you check out the channel and check out some of those other product reviews and see if one of those makes sense to you, because they're a great place to start generating some of that passive income. But in any event, I hope you are going to actually take this information and run with it. And I look forward to seeing you next time.